Why in the world is the mascot for the Alabama Crimson Tide an elephant? The team's name comes from a muddy football game back in 1907, so where did the elephant come from? And how did a simple handshake with Walt Disney himself give the Oregon Ducks their iconic mascot? College football is a sport built on tradition, but let's be honest, some of these traditions are just plain weird. Today, we're exploring the strangest mascot origin stories in all of college football. My name is Zach, welcome to the Sports Corner at Choose Adventure Media, and let's get into it. Let's start with the elephant in the room, literally. In Tuscaloosa, why is a team named the Crimson Tide represented by an elephant named Big Al? Well, the Crimson Tide part makes sense. A sports editor coined it in 1907 after Alabama's white jerseys were stained crimson from a muddy game against Auburn. But the elephant wouldn't stomp onto the scene for another 2 decades. Flash forward to 1930. Alabama's football team was, to put it lightly, enormous. They were powerful, dominant, and just physically imposing. After a game against Ole Miss, an Atlanta Journal sports writer named Everett Strupper was trying to describe their sheer size when he overheard a fan yell, "Hold your horses, the elephants are coming," as the massive team rumbled onto the field. Strupper ran with it, calling them the Red Elephants in his article. The name just stuck. By the 1940s, the university even had a live elephant on the sidelines for some games. The costumed mascot we know as Big Al didn't officially debut until the 1980 Sugar Bowl, but his story was born from a single, perfect quote nearly 50 years earlier. Now let's head to the Pacific Northwest to talk about the Oregon Ducks. This story has it all. Heroic fishermen, a live duck named Puddles, and that legendary handshake with Walt Disney. This team wasn't always the Ducks. Their original nickname was the Webfoots, a name that traces all the way back to a group of fishermen from Massachusetts who were heroes in the Revolutionary War. Their descendants later settled in Oregon's rainy Willamette Valley, and the Webfoots nickname came with them. So how did Webfoots become Ducks? It was mostly a natural shorthand for headline writers. The name got even more popular in the 1920s when a fraternity started bringing a live duck named Puddles to games. By the 1940s, student artists were drawing the mascot, and their pictures started to look a lot like another famous duck, Donald Duck. This eventually caught the attention of Walt Disney. In 1947, Oregon's athletic director Leo Harris had a meeting with Disney and struck an informal handshake deal to let the university use Donald's likeness. Years later, when Disney's lawyers came around asking about a formal contract, the university just showed them a photo of Walt Disney himself wearing a jacket with the Oregon Duck logo on it. That picture helped seal a formal agreement in 1973. Speaking of weird, how about a team that's named after a color, but has an unofficial dancing tree as its mascot? Welcome to Stanford. The university's teams are officially the Cardinal, as in the color, not the bird. The school dropped its old Indians nickname in 1972 out of respect for Native American culture, and for years, Stanford had no official mascot. Then, in 1975, the famous quirky Stanford marching band decided to handle things themselves. During a halftime show, they sarcastically proposed some new mascot ideas, including a steaming manhole and the tree. The tree was a nod to El Palo Alto, the iconic redwood tree on the university's seal. It was meant as a total joke, but the crowd absolutely loved it. The tree became the band's mascot and eventually the beloved unofficial symbol of Stanford athletics. To this day, a new student is chosen each year to be the tree, and they get to design their own wonderfully ridiculous costume from scratch. But if a tree is weird, it has nothing on a bright yellow, slimy, shell-less mollusk. Meet the UC Santa Cruz Banana Slugs. The mascot choice was a deliberate act of rebellion. When the university was founded in the 1960s, the students wanted something that reflected the campus's anti-competitive counterculture vibe. The banana slug, native to the surrounding redwood forests, was perfect. The university administration, however, did not agree. In 1980, when the school officially joined the NCAA, the chancellor announced the new mascot would be the Sea Lions, a much more dignified choice. The students flat out revolted. They kept cheering for the banana slugs and completely ignored the sea lion. After a 5-year-long 2 mascot problem, the students finally held a vote in 1986. The Banana Slug won in a landslide, forcing the Chancellor to officially make the slimy creature the mascot. Finally, how does an entire team get named after a hog? For that, you have to ask the Arkansas Razorbacks. Before 1909, the university's teams were just called the Cardinals, which was pretty uninspired. That all changed after a huge win against LSU. The team's coach, Hugo Bezdek, was so fired up by his team's tough performance that he declared they played like a wild band of Razorback hogs. The name was an instant hit. The image of a tenacious, wild hog connected with the fan base way more than a bird ever did. Just 1 year later, in 1910, the student body voted to officially change the mascot from the Cardinals to the Razorbacks, and the famous "Woo Pig Suey" chant wasn't far behind. It took until the 1960s for a live Russian boar named Tusk to become a fixture at games, but the team's entire identity was forged by a coach's perfectly colorful compliment. From a sports writer's turn of phrase to an all-out student rebellion, the stories behind these mascots are as much a part of college football history as the games themselves. It just goes to show that tradition can come from anywhere. A joke, a muddy field, or even a slimy slug. What's the weirdest mascot story I missed? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like digging into the strange side of sports history, make sure to subscribe for more. Thank you for watching. My name is Zach with the Sports Corner at Choose Adventure Media, and I'll catch you in the next one.